We're joined by Natalie Klepáčová from the partnership Cool Earth. Her organisation works directly with rainforest communities to bolster their efforts against deforestation. Natalie, thank you so much for joining me today. So you're in Brazil at the moment. Tell us a little bit about your upcoming speech.
Yeah, so I'm here with my organization Cool Earth in Belém, Brazil. And as you just mentioned, we are a rainforest protection charity. We work alongside Indigenous and local communities. And for the first time, a COP is being held basically in the Amazon here in Belém in Brazil. Um, COP and these kind of events are a great space to share our work and to meet with other Indigenous organizations and really try, push forward for Indigenous rights. We're going to be on around 6 panels in the next 2 weeks. And in all of these panels, we are going to be pushing for direct and unconditional climate financing to Indigenous and local communities as the best way, the most cost effective, the most respectful way to conserve our planet's most precious ecosystems.
It's a very important issue, but why do you think that the people from the rainforest need to have something like that like this so close to home? Why is it that important for them and for you as an organisation?
Absolutely. It's a great question. I was actually at COP last year in Azerbaijan, and we did a little bit of research and we realized that there was one Indigenous person for every 10 fossil fuel lobbyists. It just doesn't make sense. Indigenous and local communities protect 40% of the world's natural lands, yet they receive less than 1% of international climate financing. There's a massive disparity there. So this COP is really important because I've been here for the past week and there is so much Indigenous representation here. As you walk around, you can see lots of different Indigenous communities, leaders. Of course, more needs to be done. I'm sure you saw the protests that happened a couple of days ago. Actually, just this morning, I couldn't actually get into COP. I had to wait outside for a good 45 minutes because there was an Indigenous blockade, which I absolutely support, because so much more needs to be done to make sure that their voices are not just heard, but they are also included in the decision making. So this COP is really, really important. Yeah.
Of course, we always see there, the celebrities and the big presidents and prime ministers that are coming over and the events that are happening. But those protests and those speeches from the people that are on the ground, as you rightly say, are incredibly important. And that's what your charity does as well, outside of this COP30, help them. Can you explain to our audience a little bit about Cool Earth in general and what you're doing?
Absolutely. So we are an international climate NGO. We protect rainforests by supporting Indigenous and local communities through direct, unconditional funds. We work in the world's three largest rainforests. We've been in the proven Amazon for 2 decades now, Papua New Guinea for coming up to 14, 15 years, and Cameroon in the Congo Basin too. Just to give a little bit of context on Indigenous struggle at the moment. So lots of Indigenous communities are at the front lines of the climate crisis. So we've seen in the communities that we work with in Peru, for example, in the north, they have faced some of the most severe droughts, wildfires, and then floods. So it's kind of all the most extreme weathers right on their doorstep. That's really devastating these communities. And the injustice of it all is that they've done the absolute least to contribute in terms of carbon footprint. Their carbon footprint is completely minuscule. So they're looking for justice, and that's what we're promoting as well here. We believe that direct unconditional cash to local Indigenous communities is a way of bringing that justice back into the climate space for these communities.
Talking about the costs, people who are using private jets and they're obviously putting a huge impact on the climate. Some of those funds that could be used to hire those private jets could surely go to the indigenous people. How do you feel being there, knowing that someone might have spent millions just to travel to Brazil when actually people on the ground need that money?
Absolutely. There's always that question of, are these large scale kind of global conferences worth it, considering that everyone's flying in, etc. But I would say, I think private jets, obviously, we shouldn't be doing that at all. For example, Cool Earth, me and my colleague are, sharing a room for the whole 2 weeks. And we've actually given most of our budget away to facilitate the inclusion of two of our amazing Indigenous partners, Care and Anamiap, represented by Angel Pedro Valerio and Katy Marcelo. But amongst that criticism, I do still believe these events are incredibly important, especially on the ground. I would say almost more important for the grassroots organizations, the Indigenous and local organizations, to be able to have their voices heard, to be listened to, and for all of us to connect and understand what each other's doing and help to, bolster each other and support each other in this movement. We can't do this alone. This is going to be a collective movement if we're going to really, address the climate crisis in a way that's just. Yeah.
I mean, you're speaking about doing your 6 panels, but obviously, when this comes to an end and those panels are finished and everyone's gone home, how can you assure that something will be done and everybody will be moving forward to help not just those people in the Amazon, but of course, all of the Indigenous people that are looking to get assistance?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think what's really important is this cannot be the only time that the spotlight is on Indigenous and local communities, that the spotlight is on, rainforest destruction. We have to be considering these things all year round. Of course, these events, they get a lot of media, a lot of press, a lot of, as you say, leaders are here, celebrities, etc. So people are talking about it a lot more. But to carry on the dialogue, I mean, Cool Earth, we work 365 days a year. We're fighting this cause all the time, as are all these Indigenous organizations. So we are going to use these events to leverage, what we're doing and what these Indigenous organizations are doing. But it won't stop here. We're going to be constantly, we're going to be working really hard and talking about this all the time. And there are several other climate events that happen throughout the year. And yeah, I'm hopeful that I think this conversation will carry on past this event.
And Natalie, I know you're speaking itself, one of the panels. Can you just tell us what that's about and when people can listen in?
Yeah, so I'm speaking on quite a few. I'm actually speaking on one in about an hour, and that's all about direct unconditional cash transfers and how that model can be scaled to many different ecosystems and environments. I'm speaking on the 19th at the Peru Resilience Hub. I think if you Google that online, you can probably find the link there, or I can send the link after to see that. But also, if you go to Cool Earth social media, our Instagram, our LinkedIn, our Facebook, we're constantly posting about what we're doing. So I would really, go check that out and check out our website as well, coolearth.org.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Natalie, for joining me today. And I'll definitely be checking that link. So we'll find you speaking and hope and as well alongside you that the future will be brighter for everybody. Thank you.